Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you're all having an amazing day and thank you so much for joining me. So today's video is another one in my trimester roundup series, if you will. I'm doing my third and final trimester roundup today. I am 35 weeks and 2 days as I shoot this, and I'm choosing to shoot this a little earlier because I'm almost close to 36, 37 weeks, and I don't know when this little one wants to come out. And before I get caught up in the madness and craziness of everything, I wanted to make sure that I do film my third trimester roundup and edit it and make the thumbnail and all that and upload it. I can share it once he's here. So yeah, very excited. I've already shot 2 videos. I don't know the order in which I'll upload them. One is things I eat in a day to maintain my blood sugar and what I'm doing to combat my gestational diabetes diagnosis. And the other one is, I've filmed 3. The other one is what I'm packing in my hospital bag. And the last one is just a fun video where I'm sharing with you everything that I got as part of a couple registry gift boxes that I signed up for. Yeah, we are very, very excited. The last time I saw you, we were in Santa Barbara. We're back home now. Haven't been traveling anywhere because I am exhausted all the time now. Before I get started with my roundup and trimester updates, there were some things that I thought I had missed that might be of interest to you. So yeah, getting into that, the first thing I've noticed ever since I got pregnant is a heightened sense of smell. My sense of smell has gotten very, very strong, and I've heard from a lot of people like this is a very common pregnancy symptoms. And so now I can smell someone smoking from like ways away, and I'll be like, oh my god, someone's smoking, and Kumar will be like, there's nobody close to us that is actually smoking. But no, sure enough, if I look like 50 meters away, there is definitely someone who's smoking. And initially it was bad because I was really triggered by, I didn't have nausea or anything, but it was just like an annoying feeling whenever Kumar used to cook goat or lamb. Chicken, fish, I was okay with that, but lamb, I just couldn't do it. I also had, I think this started around week 16, 17, I want to say, and I had like carpal tunnel type of symptoms. And I've heard this also from a lot of people, like, your body tends to retain a lot of liquid fluid, and then your wrists start aching. And mostly this happens to me when I'm sleeping at night, and it actually started when I started using my pregnancy pillow, because I tend to sleep like this, like with my hand under my head, and that's when I started noticing that my wrists were really aching. So initially I thought maybe I just slept wrong, but then from my friends and like even after a few days when I wasn't sleeping, consciously not sleeping, with my hand under my head, my wrist was still aching. A few people like get a lot of pain like in their fingers, and it feels like a tingly numbing sensation. I didn't feel any of that, but my wrist, I have this like clicking sound now every time I do this motion, and I can feel like something clicking here. Another thing is I had a lot of like pelvic pain very, very early on, and that's when I got like like an abdominal like binder or a belly band, which just gives the belly a little bit support. And usually if I do like some yoga or stretches, it tends to go away, and it's because of a hormone called relaxin that your body produces during pregnancy, and it like relaxes your bones and ligaments. That's why it happens. Another thing is this is very funny. So when I knew, so by the way, we're having a boy, if you haven't seen my reveal in my previous video. And when I learned that we were having a boy, I had this, I don't know, like irrational, incompetent feeling. Like, so I have a sister, I have a lot of sisters, I have nieces, and I've never really taken care of a little boy. I don't have brothers that I'm close to or whatever. I am great friends with boys. I'd never really seen a newborn little boy. So I don't know, for some reason, and whoever has had boys or learned when they had boys, please let me know in the comments below if I'm not the only one, or if I am the only one. And if you felt something similar, like I just felt like, oh my god, it's going to be a boy, and how am I going to take care of him? I don't know anything about a boy. Slowly, obviously, that fear has turned into excitement, and I obviously can't wait to get my hands on this little baby boy. But yeah, I don't know. Initially, I had this very weird feeling, and lastly, I had a big aversion to greens up until my second trimester. Before getting pregnant, I was big into having salads, and for my breakfast, 5 times out of 7 days, I would have cooked spinach. It was very weird. Like, I couldn't really stand the taste of like greens or spinach or anything. Like, it was just like giving my tongue this like ugh feeling. But now I do eat a lot of salads and spinach and all of that because now I can. Again, I have my notes here, so that's why I'll be looking up and down. But I think you know that drill by now. Week 27, I really started to take care of my diet. Like I said, like when my third trimester really started, I was able to again have like greens and stuff like that. Yeah, really started to take care of myself and my diet. We went on a trip to Santa Barbara where I made my last roundup video from. My back pain really started. Like, I feel like the day I hit third trimester, my body was like, okay, this is the last trimester. Now we have to get fatigue back in, and you're going to be tired all the time, and we are going to give you all the aches and pains that we can. There was something really funny that happened. So I watched like these like weekly update videos on YouTube, like what happens at so and so week, like whatever week I'm on, I'll go and watch that video. Someone on there said that after week 26, if someone like puts their ear to the belly, they can actually hear baby's heartbeat. So so I told Kumar to do that, and he put his ear on my belly to hear baby's heartbeat, and the baby kicked him right in his ear, and it was so funny. I was like, oh, whoops, baby doesn't like you yet. You have to build up, your liking. So that was really funny. My heartburn increased. Yeah, like I said, heartburn has been prevalent throughout pregnancy. My lower back pain continues, and my bump was high up here. Like, now it's like really, really high up, like right below my breasts. But yeah, during week 27, yeah, I definitely felt like my bump had gotten higher and higher. Week 28, my pubic pain continued, but like I said, my once I do like some stretching or yoga, it tends to get better. I had a lot of trouble while turning when I sleep. So when you're pregnant, you need to lie or sleep on one side. I know the left side is the best, but obviously nobody can just sleep for 7-8 hours on just one side. You can turn when you're sleeping, and it had gotten really, really tough because, like I said, my ligaments in my hips especially started, like, I felt like they were like loosening up and hurting. So whenever I turned, it hurt. It still does. In week 28 is when I met with the gestational diabetes specialist. We talked about my current diet and how I need to monitor my blood glucose levels, what the effect would be on baby, and what my weight was. That week, then I started monitoring my glucose by pricking my finger 4 times. I had been really, really struggling with my fasting glucose, and with gestational diabetes, like, you never know what your body is doing. It's all the placenta and how that is reacting with your pancreas and all the hormones. So it's nothing that you caused. So I met with another gestational diabetes specialist, and they told me that because I was struggling with my morning glucose numbers, which is actually very, very important because that's like the longest time the baby is exposed to higher blood glucose, I would be put on insulin. But yeah, that, I think the insulin discussion was in week 30. I jumped ahead. Other things that happened during week 29 is, because I got this gestational diabetes diagnosis, I'm now forced to eat very, very healthy and focusing on eating less carbs. And by that, I don't mean cutting carbs completely, because you do need carbs for your body and baby's development. I talk more about this in my gestational diabetes video, by the way. So yeah, feel free to check it out. Do continue to walk. My aim had been at that point to walk at least 2 miles, and I was doing that really, really well. But as my tummy has grown and as I am getting more tired, that is more like a mile if I can. Another thing I noticed was like darkening sunspots, like right under my eyes or above my cheeks. I did have sunspots, but they weren't as visible. I also noticed that my underarms were getting especially dark. Again, pigmentation and all that can just change during pregnancy because of hormones and all these changes that your body is going through. You're doing such a major thing of like growing a human being from scratch. So, there are like tiny little side effects here and there, which is totally cool. Week 29 is also when my belly button popped. And that was like the most weird thing because I have like an innie belly button. And then as my stomach stretched and my uterus grew, my little belly button has started to protrude out a little bit, which feels a little weird to me. Lastly, the fun thing that happened was I started feeling baby hiccups. So initially it was just like I felt like this small rhythmic movement, and I didn't know what it was. At first I was like, what is even happening? Like, is this normal? But then slowly and surely I started noticing a pattern, and it was definitely baby's hiccups. And that was pretty fun and cute. And now as I'm further along, I can see my skin go boop 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 as I see that he's hiccuping, which is very, very cute. Week 30 is when the first time I noticed that my hair fall had suddenly just disappeared. I mean, everybody has like a healthy hair fall every single day. My hair was already thick, but now my hair has so much volume. Like, it's crazy. And I know this is only going to last for a few weeks or months, and by 3-4 months into my postpartum, I'm going to lose a lot of it. I started feeling babies. What I thought is kicks in my lower abdomen was actually his little hands. By week 30, baby had definitely moved head down and into like closer to my pelvis, and he had his hands, I think he still has his hands closer to his head, and I could feel his like little fingers doing this. And initially I thought that there's no way baby's going to move head down so soon, and he already had moved, and those were his little hands. We also had the growth scan at 30 weeks, so they checked for his growth. There's a concern with gestational diabetes that those like babies born to mothers with gestational diabetes put on a lot of weight, but baby was measuring just fine. He was 3.7 pounds at 30 weeks and in the 47th percentile by weight. And his head was also measuring, I think, 46th percentile at that point, which is again super healthy. He also has a lot of hair, which we could see on the ultrasound, which was great. His head was near my bladder, so that explains. And now it's gotten even more uncomfortable as he like moves around and his head is bigger. I have started getting like lightning crotch. When we saw him, his little hand was near his face, and it was like, oh, so cute. Starting of week 30, I was still struggling with my fasting numbers, but I was, trying to eat well and do all my exercises as well. I was consistently doing prenatal yoga, and I also started doing exercises on my birth ball. I also got my Tdap vaccine, and Tdap is given here, which is the tetanus, diphtheria, and bursitis, I think, or whooping cough. And when you have that vaccine, the antibodies can then go to the baby and they are also protected. So highly recommended. I also asked my parents who are going to be here to get that vaccine. I had like a little bit of like flu-like symptoms, like body ache. I felt like I had low-grade fever. That was all gone within like a few hours. Okay. At this point, I also met with... At this point, I also met with the gestational diabetes specialist, let them know that my fasting numbers were still high. That's when we decided that I needed to go and start insulin. And I was pretty bummed when I was asked to do that because, first of all, we have this big negative connotation towards gestational diabetes, but you have to remember that there's no control really that you have on gestational diabetes and your placenta. And if sometimes you need some help with insulin to control your blood sugar, so that's what you need to do. Like, if you have fever, you don't blame yourself. And if you have to take a medication to help with that fever, you don't feel ashamed about it. So why with gestational diabetes? That's my mindset now. And I experienced major brain fog and pregnancy brain and forgetfulness this week, because I remember I was talking to a coworker about some work and they asked me like, oh, are we working on so and so? And I'm like, no, we're not working on that. And then 2 hours later, I remember like, oh, we were actually talking about something totally different, and I responded about something totally different. So then I had to like ping him and be like, hey, sorry, I miscommunicated. Week 31 now. Week 31, like I said, I started with my lowest dose of insulin, and that has been really, really helping my fasting glucose numbers. Now, because I was put on insulin, I had to go for a lot more monitoring. It's just to make sure that baby and I both are doing well. Every week until week 35, so that's this week, I had to go in for one NST or non-stress test every week. And then also they also do like an ultrasound. The ultrasound is a very quick one. It's just to measure how much amniotic fluid you have, because that's like a major concern with that, just making sure that baby's processing amniotic fluid well. And next to just see like my cervix is nice and closed, my placenta is getting good blood flow, and the umbilical cord and everything is fine. So it's a really quick, I want to say like not even 5-minute ultrasound that I have to go for it. And the NSTs or the non-stress tests take like about 20-25 minutes. And I'll pop up a picture or a video here to explain how the NST is done. They put like a couple sensors on my belly. One of the sensor is to monitor baby's heartbeat, and the other one is a little high, and that's to keep a track of any contraction or cramping that I'm having. And then there's another machine on the side which actually records all this. It's like an EKG, like if you go for like a heart rate monitoring thing, and when you see those like squiggly lines and stuff, they want to see a good acceleration and deceleration of baby's heartbeat. So starting week 36, I actually have to go in twice a week till I deliver. I also haven't really noticed any kind of swelling. I had friends who've had a bit of swelling at this point in their pregnancy, and I think even looking at my face, my friends and relatives have told me like I don't look pregnant, so you tell me. I don't even have swelling, which I'm very, very grateful for, and I attribute that to walking and just moving around and not sitting all day or not resting enough. I feel like I have enough things to worry about and have enough problems, and I'm glad that swelling is not one of them. Oh, and week 31 is also when I visited a couple of baby showers, and one of them was for a school friend, which I hadn't seen her in like years, and we only met her during one like dinner, which was right before the baby shower, and the next time was at her baby shower, and the next week she's going to be at my baby shower. And it's just so crazy that we are both school friends, and now we're going to have babies which are so close in age to each other. They had the best pani puris at both baby showers, and I hadn't had chaat or pani puri in so long, so I just devoured as many pani puris as I could. But that definitely led to me having more heartburn, but I didn't care. I took a couple of tums, and I was like, I'm just going to enjoy having pani puri, and if I have to combat this with tums, I will do that. So week 32, I've noticed that baby has started making like a lot of big moves. I think now that he's growing stronger and larger and bigger in there's like less room for him to move around. So I feel like I feel less of his like kicks and jabs, and I feel more of his like movements. And I really feel like sometimes when he's been sleeping and then he wakes up and like he tries to stretch and move around, you can really feel that. And I always feel like his little like bumps up here on top, and then his maybe like knees or elbows or something which like protrude from my belly. It's really, really funny. Started my NSTs and ultrasound this week, which is week 32. So that was week 32, nothing much. I also had my 33-week checkup with a midwife this week, and yeah, they got some blood work to confirm my blood type. They also did some STD testing like chlamydia and gonorrhea. Everything was negative. I also asked them if I could start taking Epsom salt baths, because I've noticed like some tingling and restless legs, which I feel so often now. Yeah, I got the green light to take Epsom salt baths, just that you don't want to make the water super hot, which I anyway don't do, and you don't want to overheat your body. In the beginning of third trimester, I had noticed like less vaginal discharge, but at week 33, it's definitely kicked up a lot. And now when I'm close to week 36, now there's this constant like wet feeling. Sorry for the TMI, but there's this constant like wet feeling. And at one point, I don't know why, I felt like, oh my God, is that my amniotic fluid leaking or something? Because I've heard that can happen, but I don't think that was what it was. And I have to pee so often. I haven't noted that symptom specifically, but that has been a constant thing. And as baby's head is growing larger and putting more pressure on my pelvis and my bladder, I definitely have to pee like every 45 minutes. Yeah, week 33 is also when we did our almond blossom maternity photo shoot. I didn't do like a professional maternity photo shoot. I just had a very lovely friend of mine come with us to a nearby almond farm. So we just took a drive there one Saturday morning, and yeah, he took like a bunch of very, very sweet pictures for us, and those memories are so special to me, and I'm very, very grateful to have friends like those. We also started putting the nursery together, so these couple friends also helped us put the entire crib together. Oh, we also did a hospital tour during this week, so that was really, really helpful as well. And we got to see where the parking was, where the emergency was, how to check in, the different units or rooms in the hospital. Moving on to week 34, we had another growth scan at week 34, and this time the technician was so weird. I know in the past I've raved about how good my ultrasound techs have been. She was a little weird. I just want to say that it was a little weird, weird experience for me. And baby boy was measuring 5 pounds at this appointment, which is again, I think, pretty healthy. This time we did see some fluid or urine in his kidneys, and from what we've been told, it's called fetal hydronephrosis, and it's a very common thing that happens in boys. Once we were done with the ultrasound, there was another doctor who was on site who came to talk to us. I was nervous as shit, because we've never really had that. The ultrasound techs do their ultrasound, they show the report to the doctor, and then that's been about it. And this was the first time wherein after she finished the ultrasound, she was like, okay, the doctor will now come and talk to you. So the doctor came in and they told us that they did see like some urine in his kidney, and it's also something that like goes away on its own when they're born. So that was a little reassuring. Also, the measurement that they find for this, like the dilation of the urethra that's coming out of the kidney, was in like the mild range. And this morning I also had a call with a pediatric urologist. Yeah, people here and doctors here, thankfully, are on my team, are really, really proactive, and I'm very, very grateful that they are. I don't have to like sit around and wonder like, oh my god, or Google, where you get the worst of the answers. After today's meeting, I definitely feel so relieved, because although from whatever I've read and heard, this is a very common thing that happens and usually just resolves on its own. It's just something that worries me. The nurse that I was talking to today just said, like, this is not something that you should lose sleep over, and it's very common. Again, we have interventions that we can do. As far as I can see, and from my experience, like, this is something that resolves on its own for babies by a few months into their birth, and you don't need to worry. Yeah, that was a little, I want to say, a hiccup. I would say in like a relatively smooth, whoa, in in a relatively smooth pregnancy that I've been having, apart from my gestational diabetes. Till it's me, I think I can tackle that and control it somehow. But mothers can understand here, when they're talking about your baby, you always feel like everything, you always want everything to be perfect. You don't want to hear anything negative or bad about their health or anything like that. I am again very, very grateful, very hopeful that baby boy here is going to do great. And most of the times, because people don't even have ultrasounds after their 20-week scan, people don't even know something like this happens, and we didn't even catch it during or we didn't see anything like this during our 30-week scan. And another thing that the nurse today told me is, when I asked her, like, hey, we haven't seen this in 12 weeks, 20 weeks, 30-week scan even, right? So why are we seeing this at 34 weeks? Like, what's the reason behind that? And she said, because he's getting bigger, and the way his legs might be positioned, the urethra might be kinked a little bit, and that's what is probably causing the fluid in his kidneys, which again was reassuring. And she said, once he's out and he's growing like linear, like laterally, linearly, whatever, like in a line, like he'll be able to stretch out. His urethra can also stretch out, and all this will resolve. Another thing that happened during week 34, I got probably my last prenatal massage before I delivered, and again, it was the best thing ever. I always go into it feeling like, oh, I don't really feel any aches or pains, so but I'll just go in and get a massage. It's just for relaxing, and then I come out of it and I'm like, yes, this is what I was missing. Talking about week 35, I want to say that I have been very, very emotional during this week. My hormones are like amped up right now, and as I get close to delivery and all that, I'm just super emotional, quick to cry at anything, just like amplified my emotional side so much. A couple of nights I've noticed that I am waking up hungry. I've actually been hungrier than usual, and maybe this is like the last growth spurt that baby boy is having inside the tummy, and that's why I'm getting really, really hungry. Sleep has gotten a little tough. I've had like a couple bouts of insomnia, and I've tried to go to sleep, but now because the tummy is bigger and trying to still sleep on one side has been getting a little tougher. What's next? So I'll be hitting week 36 next week, which is on Tuesday, and then I have my baby shower. So it might be a little late in the game to do a baby shower, but it is as good of a time as any. My parents will be here in less than 2 days or 2 days. So that's very, very exciting. They're staying with us for a very long time. And I'm so grateful that they are coming over for such a long time and giving us time to take care of our baby and spend time with him, and also spend like quality grandchild time. I'm very, very grateful. And here comes the tears. Like I said, I've been so emotional. But yeah, I'm very grateful that they've like taken 6 months out of their life to spend with us and help us. So they'll be here like in 2 days, and then we have our baby shower next Saturday, which is on March 22nd. Very, very excited about that. And then week 37, I'm going to have another growth scan to just monitor baby and his weight and all that, because I have like follow-up calls with my gestational diabetes team every 2 weeks. I've been told that they won't let me go past 40 weeks to deliver, which I'm super okay with. So they want me to deliver at around 39 weeks. Their reasoning was that people with high risk pregnancies, which now I'm considered one, their placenta starts to degenerate after a certain point in pregnancy. Even though 37 weeks is considered full term, 39 is considered like fully cooked and baked, and baby is like ready. So it's a great time for them to induce me if I don't go into labor on my own by then. At my next appointment, which is at 36 weeks with my OB, I'm just going to set a date for induction, just in case I don't go into labor on my own, which could happen. I don't think we're going to go until April 15th, which is my due date to have this baby boy and meet and see his cute little face. I'm very excited. It's March 13th today. So less than a month to go till we see him. And it feels like I've waited. Oh, I'm going to cry again. It feels like I've waited all my life to meet him and gone through so much. Gone through so much to be where we are right now. And I count my blessings every single day. And I thank God every single day that we have health and strength and happiness. And just grateful that I'm doing well, baby's doing well, and there's nothing more that I could ask for. So yeah, with that, I think that should be it. I need to film one more video, which is his nursery. We are more or less done with organizing the nursery, but there's just like a few things that I need to do and like wash his clothes and organize them. So once that's done, I'm going to take like a quick nursery tour, and I think that would be it for my pregnancy updates. I've had really like a lot of fun filming this, and I may have said this earlier, but it's not just for me to share with you, but it's also for me to look back one day, because this might just be it for us. We might be this might be a one and done deal. Yeah, whenever I miss this beautiful time in my life, I can just go back to these moments and just like relive them. Feeling great. Very, very excited to meet our little baby boy soon. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed being part of my pregnancy updates and listening to them. And yeah, let me know like if these were similar to what you felt or different from what you felt. So yeah, thank you again so much for spending your time with me. And yeah, I will see you in my next one. Bye.